Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Why is this kind of cringy?
I've heard a story, I've heard it said, I've come to believe that love is a bet. Sometimes you win it,
Take two. Hi guys, welcome to my channel where you are acknowledged your existence matters and a safe space for you to be just who you really are. So many are asking me, Ma'am Elsa, how did you get there? This is my very first video, and I am nudged to do this for a long time. Like, many are asking me, why don't you make a video, since I acknowledge that my gift is a gift of encouragement in which I praise God for. And so I am hiding myself for a very long time now. There was a season that I world, and so this time I guess it's about time for me to share and glorify God who has made everything possible for me. So before I will go on to the technicalities of how did I get here in Australia, and to share with you the bloody process of visa processing, I would want to share to you my life in a nutshell, records of God's faithfulness. This is part one, how it all began. Because before I arrived here, before I experienced this answered prayers of God, He has spoken to me in so many incredible ways. So I want to unpack that and share unto you my journey from my comfort zone to the great unknown, and how I trusted God from one step of the journey, from one painful step of obeying and resisting, until I acknowledge that, God, I cannot do this by myself, and just lead the way. And so I shared to you the timeline of how this dream of becoming in Australia, actually, this is not really a dream for me before, and how it has been realized. So I have here a timeline of everything. From the year 2010, I also scanned some of my journals from the Philippines before. 2 to 3 or 5 years ago, everything has been recorded here. I have been, it's just so cool to read how He has fulfilled promises and read how God really is a God of answered prayers. So let's go and dive into how did I get here. So let's walk down the memory lane a bit. So it started in year 2010 when Australia was revealed to me. As I said, this has not been a dream. This is not my plan. 2010, I'm very young, fresh graduate. I'm starting to enjoy my life. I have always been somebody with a curfew. I'm always been a woman obeying what my parents are telling me, in which is I appreciate right now. So 2010, I am working in a call center, and one of my friends asked me to join an info session, a seminar about going to Australia. And so I told my mama, Ma, do you know something about Australia? Because my friend is inviting me to attend an info session, because my friend's mom actually helps Filipinos to get to Australia, to go to Australia. So my mama said, yeah, your grandmother in my father's side and my aunties are actually Australian citizens. And my mom once mentioned that one of their biggest frustration is that my father was supposed to be petitioned to go to Australia many years ago, kasi my father worked in Saudi for a very long time, and my aunties, who's by that time is already an Australian citizen, petitioned my father to exit from Saudi to Australia. And so my father said no and chose a simple life in the Philippines. 2010, when the going gets tough, my parents are like kind of frustrated of, why did you choose the life here when we can actually have a better life if you only chose Australia by that time. So that's the time that Australia was revealed to me. But to be honest, during that time, my focus is to have a career in education. I want to be in the academe and work in the academe. My first job was in a call center, and that time I am still reviewing for my board exam. And so I met this friend, and yes, I attended the info session. I was like, okay, Australia is a good country. That's the only time I knew about the states of Melbourne, Sydney, Gold Coast, and Perth. I haven't heard Adelaide. I am right now in Adelaide. And so, okay, that's just it, Australia. And I brush it off. I forgot about Australia until, fast forward, 2015. So in between those years, I am a very ordinary woman navigating life. My life revolves around school because I took my master's degree. My life revolves around ministry. I am very active in the church. I have been serving God for so many years. Until now, I still love serving the Lord by encouraging people through His words. I have been an active youth minister. I have been preaching the gospel. I have been, in short, I love to talk about God. I'm so passionate about what the Lord has been doing in my life for those years. I worked in a company, private company, for 5 years. That is what sustained my master's degree. So here comes 2015, where God has put me in a place. This is a different story. I will want to share in another video how God put me in the university where I am not qualified, but God made a way for me. I believe it's always God who works in ways in my life that is very surprising. So 2015, I applied in University of Mindanao, where I studied my master's. I am really not qualified to be a college teacher because I have no experience. I only have experience teaching elementary for 2 years, but for 5 long years, I did not teach because I work in a private company. However, I said, while I'm having my master's, I'm touching the doors of my classrooms and I am saying God and declaring, God, I want to teach in here. I want to be a college professor. I know I have no experience, but I know that I'm always the head and never the tail because I am a daughter of a king. And I'm always be on top and never below. And so, to shorten the story, I applied in the University of Mindanao and I was hot. I got hired on the spot. And hallelujah, God has been so good. So 2015 to 2018, I am a college professor. I am a college lecturer. I am also teaching senior high. Those 4 years, I am juggling between my ministry, my family, and my career, in which those years were the happiest years of my life so far. And so 2015, I am having the best years of my life. I have been teaching. My students are loving me. I love my students. My platform is my stage in the classroom. I just can't put into words how happy I was during those years. Until 2016, I got curious about Australia once again because my cousin, who is living in Perth, visited us in Davao with her family, and they have been living a good life in Perth, in Australia. And when she knew that I am a college teacher or lecturer, when she came back to Australia, she messaged me and asked me, do you want to go here and study? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I can do that. I can apply for a visa. And during that time, I started praying for that because my cousin said she will be supporting me. And then 1 year after, 2017, that's the time I started acting on it. I said, Lord, I want to explore the faith that you have given me. I have been in the ministry for so long. God has been moving in my life in so many ways, mighty ways. And that time I said, I want to challenge God. I want to go to Australia. With nothing in my hand, with nothing in my bank account, I said, I want to go to Australia. I believe God will prepare us for opportunity. It's just like driving. How can you drive without knowledge in driving, right? God will not give you a car if you have no license. God will not give you a car if you don't know how to drive. The same as with me. I said, Lord, I will go to DFA and get my very first passport. 2017. I enrolled myself in English lessons because during that time, it's a requirement to go to Australia. You should have to have IELTS. So I enrolled myself in IELTS. And it has been, I thought everything will be easy for me until I was slapped by the truth that you need money to go to Australia. And 2018, here comes 2018, where I started processing all my documents. I started to, actually 2017, later of 2017, I already started going to an agency and asking for their help, and they gave me a checklist of the requirements that I need for me to go to Australia. So first, I need to have a sponsor, I need to have this amount in my bank account, I need to have $500,000, in which I really don't have and my parents don't have. And so I said, God, if this is really from you, and during that time, I don't know, but I am in my season where I wanted to explore the faith God has given me because I feel like I'm no longer growing where I am. It will always come to a point in your life. There will always be a season in your life where you will feel like, I am not growing in this place anymore and I want to be somewhere else. I want a challenge where faith will lead me. During the time, I am in my happiest years, as I said. Teaching in the university has been very euphoric experience for me. I am so happy during that time, but it came to a point where I am working so hard but not compensated enough. and I wanted to fulfill my dreams for my family. I wanted to give my parents a very good life when they grow old. They are old right now. So the time I started dreaming of going to Australia. So 2018, where the roller coaster emotions, ride of emotions and challenges began, where I experienced that peak of anxiety. I battled inside my room crying and asking him, is this really for me? Because it was 2018 when I started gathering all my papers going to Australia, but it was also the same year where I decided to and resign from the job that I have prayed for before. So now I realize there's always a season where you will be praying for something. God will give that to you. And there will also be a season where you will be saying goodbye to that answered prayer that you were once asking God. So during the time I prayed really hard, Lord, if this is from you, if Australia is for sure that you will not lead me somewhere that you will not be providing. So I passed my resignation to my department head, and she was like, why? Your evaluations have been very good in the university. Praise God. I am always having a high evaluation from the students and from the department. I already finished an institutional research. Everything is so well until I said I wanted to resign because I am planning to go somewhere. Actually, that time, hindi pa resignation. Filed a leave, an indefinite leave. And so 2018, I am so hesitant to resign, but I'm so also very eager to go to Australia. And so, nag-design po ako. And during the time, sabi ko, Lord, what will I do? I have no money. I have no source. And so what I did, through the help of my friends, I applied as an online teacher, working for a rare job as an online Japanese English tutor. And I'm also having a sideline wherein I tutor one New Yorker. He's taking medicine during the time, and I am teaching him biology and answering his assignments, and in return, he will pay me. That is my source during that time, but that is not enough for me to have money, the 500,000 pesos for my Australia. And so I remembered my cousin who promised to support me, and then I emailed her, hi, I am ready to go to Australia. Just tell me what should I do, and I will be preparing all the documents. However, when she replied, she said she will be supporting me. She's been doing very good with her husband in Australia, so I believe her. However, when she replied, she said she became redundant in the company that she's been working with. She is an accountant, and then her husband is an architect in Australia. They have been doing so well. However, na-redundant siya sa work. She lost her job, so she has to stay home, and so she cannot support me anymore. Everything like fell down. Okay, where will I get this money if she will not be supporting me? But I believe God has been like, I can imagine God that time looking down at me and saying, Elsa, you don't trust me enough. Go on with your processing. And so, ang ginawa ko, I stopped my processing. It has been a roller coaster year for me. I stopped my processing because I don't know where to get money. Until my mama gave me a wisdom to ask my father to ask for a parcel of land, yung titulo ng lupa namin that my father will be giving me and my older sister when he dies. So, it's an inheritance. Yung title. So sabi ko, I talked to my older sister, can I borrow the title and go to a bank to lend money? So manghihiram ako, magko-collateral ako. And so I talked to my father, gave me the title. And so I went to a bank, presented the document. However, the bank said, oh, at the back of your title, it has an annotation. May nakatatak doon that says, your title has been or sinangla siya sa isang bangko, which is Rural Bank of Davao. Rural Bank of Davao, as per Google, I googled it, it's non-existing anymore. It's not, where will I look for the document to present to a bank na this lease has been cancelled already? And so, nahugno na po ko. I stopped my processing, but I go on with my life. I volunteered, as always. I have been volunteering for Habitat for Humanity Philippines for a very long time. Until 2018, I became their marketing assistant, wherein I have to ask for volunteers because we are helping schools for Brigada Eskwela. And so I have been very busy during that year, even though wala akong trabaho, just the online one. So I have been inside the house and outside volunteering, doing ministry as well, until my manager, Miss Dolly, asked me, Elsa, can you go to Digo? It's an hour travel from Davao and talk to this certain person. I was like, okay, who is this person? So he told me about this man, where I will be meeting in one of the banks in Digo. And so I did. During that day, nag-my day pa po ako. Hi guys, I want to encourage you to just hope for your dream. Little did I know God will be making a way for me during that day. So when I arrived in Digos, I remember, I entered the room. I sat down in this rotating chair inside the bank. And then he asked me, how are you? And I said, I am okay. He told me, can you tell me something about yourself? What are you doing? I mentioned about the title. And he said, okay, let me help you on that. He made a call and he said, present your paper in One Network Bank in Davao. It's in San Pedro branch, and they will be releasing the documents in 2 days. I was shocked. Like, what? 2 days? Little did I know the man that I am talking with is regional manager of all rural banks in Mindanao. And so the non-existing Rural Bank of Davao is now the One Network Bank of Davao. And he requested for my papers to be pulled out and released in just 2 days. I was like, wow, Lord, this is you. And so so the processing that is one stock is now moving again. So I said, okay, Lord, you're doing it. You're still working for me. After that, pwede na akong mag-collateral. I can use this to have a money. However, the bank said, there's still another annotation that says, nirentahan yung lupa namin ng Lapantay Foods Corporation. And so, wala pang release. Yung mga tao na nandun that my grandfather dealt with in the year 1970s are dead already. Processing is again stuck. And I remember myself crying that time. Lord, I'm so frustrated. I am inside my room, kneeling down to God and crying with no words, just tears. And I know God has been feeling my pain and my frustrations and my anxiety during that time. And I am like, Lord, did I make the right decision of leaving the teaching and pursuing something that is very impossible? But God has been so good. I remember that one, worshiping God. And here comes, I am sitting beside an attorney, member of the church. She told me, Elsa, she handed me over this brochure and says there, I studied to Australia. I was like, wow. Yes, attorney, I've been planning so long to study to Australia, but I don't think it's for me because God has not been providing me with the things that I need, especially monetary or financial. And she said, why? What's the problem? So I mentioned to her, this is the problem. Little did I know that this person that I am talking to is the former attorney of Lapantay Foods Corporation. And once again, God like slapped me in the face. I told you, right? I will make a way. God's not that harsh, but I felt like napahiya na naman ako because I doubted him. And so she said she will help me, and so she did. She called Lapantay Foods Corporation, and again my papers was released in no time. So I can't imagine how God has been very faithful in everything that you have been praying for. And just trust him. And so I was singing. I was very glad that time when I got the paper and went to the bank again. And they lent us money, 150,000, in which just half of what I need. And during that time, I am so ready to procure all my documents and submit it to the agent, in which they will be needing my papers right away because I need to go to Australia because the intake or the enrollment will begin and the classes will begin by August of 2019. So that's early of 2019 already. I guess it was February where my papers and my money from the bank was released. Here comes March and April where I was again tested by God when my mom went to the doctor with me, and I can clearly and vividly remember I was sitting in front of my mom and the doctor is over here in Davao Doctors, and while we were having a conversation about the result of one of her medical tests, I can still remember when the doctor said it's a big C. So my mom was diagnosed with a thyroid C, and I felt like, oh God. And we have no money for operation. The only money that we have is the money that I got from the bank from my Australian dream. I felt like the world turned upside down for me, and Australia is not really for me. I again doubted Australia. Like, no, this is not for me. I will not go to Australia when my mom is sick. And then I talked to my mom. I said, you can use the money for your operation. Go if ever we will be needing a blood donor for you and for your operation because we will be needing that. Or we were looking at the days or timelines of her healing, if magpapa-opera siya and all. But then my mom paused and said, I am already 67 that time. She's 67. She said, I am past that age of na-operahan. And so my mom decided, because it is not an active cancer, it is just a passive C. And so she said, no, just pursue your dreams. I will not have my operation. And so we decided not have your operation. We will just drink some medicines, and that's what the doctor advised as well, because she's old and she might not take the process of it all. So she said, just go to Australia, just go. And so I did. That's why I am here also for my family. And when my processing was lodged, my visa was lodged, I was like praying to God, I hope this is for me. I hope it will be granted. So I wanted to share to you. I want to be personal and to you guys, a bit personal, and share to you one of my journal entry, 2019, May 25, 2019, it says here. My declaration before the month end. Number 1, smooth the visa processing. You are a God of supernatural. You are above the authority of this world. Nothing is impossible for you. Because I believe that time, why will I be begging for Australia when God is the God of universe? He owns everything. He will grant me my visa. Second, increase in finances. You'll meet all my needs. You are my source. And can an Australian visa be my birthday present for my 32nd birthday? I will be screenshotting this and put this here somewhere. to prove that God is a God of answered prayer. Until August, when the visa was approved and granted to me. During that time, I have no money for everything, for luggage. I have no money for clothes because it's winter season. I will be arriving in Australia winter season, and it was like, Lord, wala akong pera. And God has been so good because I have church mates who donated me with clothes, with boots, with shoes, with luggages. I remember my pastor's wife. Hi, Mama Meech. She gladly said, "Okay, this is my credit card. I will be buying you your luggage. What else do you need?" I said, we have a church mate who is an owner of a travel agency, and she said, okay, I will be booking you from Philippines, Davao, Melbourne to Adelaide. So God placed me here in Adelaide. Adelaide is a very small parang countryside state of Australia. It's livable. We are second to the most livable city in the world. We are first of the most livable state of Australia. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in Brisbane, and I'm supposed to be in Gold Coast. However, yung mga schools that I am applying there is closed already. Hindi na ako nakabot sa intake. So this is where God lead me. And I was like, Lord, I don't know anybody from Adelaide. So Brisbane, andun yung friend ko. I have lots of friends in there. Sa Sydney or Melbourne, some of my cousins are there, but here I will be alone. But God is faithful enough to reveal to me every step of the way. So before I came here, I asked God for a word. Nung yung hintayin ng visa processing ko, it was not an easy waiting season for me. When the time I am no longer willing to stay in the Philippines. I don't know, maybe that time was my midlife crisis where I want to be somewhere. I want to be somewhere. I know I have so much potential that God has been given me, and I want to explore that faith. So that is the first part of my story of how I processed everything and how faithful God is. On my second video, part 2, from my comfort zone to the great unknown, how everything was processed, I will be sharing about the technicalities of it all, the technicalities of processing for my visa, and magkano bang kailangan, how much do you need, ano yung visa na in-applyan ko, what agency helped me to come here. So I will be sharing that in my next video. For now, thank you guys for watching. If you reach the end of this video, I so appreciate your presence, guys. And come join me as I unveil God's faithfulness and how He has been fulfilling all His promises unto me. This is a very long video, but thank you guys for watching, and see you on my next video. Bye!